So that was a weird game to watch if you're just watching these games to watch Caitlin Clark, because she was fully used. She was being used as a decoy for 34 minutes on the floor. And not only that, you can see, I don't necessarily know if she's shooting the crazy shots out of habit, whether she is frustration. I think I've been calling them frustration shots. Maybe it's okay, yeah, the fans are here to see me shoot deep threes, I need to shoot some deep threes. But she is a very, very much, she is a rhythm player. And that's the one thing I've noticed, is that when she's able to get into rhythm, she's really good. But when she's not able to get into rhythm, when she's told to just be a decoy, she's really bad. She's really, really bad. And the funny thing is, today was maybe her best overall team game. I think you could argue in the Sky game, I think she was the best player on the floor against the Sky for either team, regardless of the points. But I don't think, obviously, that wasn't the case today. Aaliyah Boston was, by yay much the best player on the floor today. But it was a really weird game, because she shot 3 of 11 from the field, 27%. 1 of 6 from 3, which isn't good. And even when it goes to attacking the basket, some of the weird things are some of the turnovers. She got fouled on 2 of her turnovers. I don't care about the 7 turnovers. I really don't. I watched the game. 2 of her turnovers, she got fouled. One of them, she was in her steps for the layup, got nudged, and because of that, she kind of lost her balance a little bit. And instead of, I don't know if you can give it as an and one because she scored, but it's she, without question, got fouled before she traveled. So it's you have to call something. But it's not the end of the world. The turnover situation is not the end of the world. There was one really bad turnover she threw. Some of them, a pass a little bit low for Alyssa Smith. She threw a really bad one late in the game where she tried to she had just gotten 2 assists in 2 possessions. Then she tried to thread the needle, and just too high degree of difficulty of a pass. It just wasn't the right thing to do, especially with the game being close. But she went for the spectacular, and it did not work out. As far as her passing went and her assists, she probably had 5 or 6 hockey assists in that game. I wouldn't be surprised if Caitlin Clark is leading the WNBA in hockey assists, because she is doing certain things really, really well. But it's just the scoring isn't there. The scoring's not there, and a lot of it is just her not being put into a position to succeed. And the worst thing is now is I'm going to talk about it in other videos, because, well, I like making a bunch of videos talking about different specific topics. But the team has had more success running, people say running inside out, but just running inside. It doesn't go out. Just running inside. And if it does go out, it's being kicked to a Kaylou, or it's being kicked to a Wallace in the corner. Ball does not touch Caitlin Clark's hands once she passed the ball to Aaliyah Boston. Unfortunately, that's probably how the team looks like they're at their best. It is what it is. It is what it is. But for Clark's game today, because it is a really weird one, because she's going... This is when I will always say with the box score watchers, is that these people don't get basketball. And the same people that were saying that, oh, these 30 points don't matter because you don't get a win, will also insult her for playing badly in a win today. And it's the same people that will say Angel Reese is a winner despite these two teams having near identical records. And Caitlin Clark is a loser despite them having near identical records. And, well, I'm pretty sure throughout in the last 2 years of college, Iowa were better than LSU. But other than, obviously LSU won a championship, fair play, but just in terms of wins and losses, I'm pretty sure they were better. But it is just a weird one, because Caitlin Clark is very, very... She's getting very, very close to being the 4th option on this team. And by the 4th option, I mean Boston 1, Kelsey Mitchell 2, Nalissa Smith, when she's on the floor, 3. And heck, even maybe sometimes 5th if Wheeler's on the floor. And the team has had success in the last 2 games doing that. They look decent-ish at times. Like the Atlanta, I don't even know if they look good today. The Atlanta Dream just looked absolutely terrible. Like they looked absolutely awful. Aaliyah Boston destroyed them. But this is what I've said in other videos. The better Aaliyah Boston plays, the worse it is for Caitlin Clark, and vice versa. The better Caitlin Clark is playing, the worse things look for Aaliyah Boston. Like Aaliyah Boston and Caitlin Clark, they can work together, but they can't both play well together, if you get me. Like Caitlin Clark can do what she did today. She can play the Julie Vanloo role. She can do what Julie Vanloo is doing and just come on and just pass the ball to her post players. Like she can do that. She can just pass the ball to Aaliyah Boston. Use her gravity because they're not going to help off her and just pass it to Aaliyah Boston. Caitlin Clark can do that every single game. And the team might have some success. But like obviously that's not what the fans are there to see. That's not how Caitlin Clark likes to play. Or Caitlin Clark can go run and gun, can give you probably 25 on any given night, especially because she is a volume shooter. Like Caitlin Clark is a streaky shooter. Like she'll hit 5 in a row and miss 4 in a row. The problem is that like she shoots 6 throughout 34 minutes, and those 6 are like 1 this possession, 1 3 minutes later, 1 5 minutes later, 1 like she just can't get a rhythm. And when Caitlin Clark can't get a rhythm, she can't score. Like that's the one thing we've learned from her as a player. So it's really tough because if you look at today's game, she actually did a lot of stuff really well. It was her best defensive game. Ironically, when she got switched on to Ryan Howard, she probably did the best job of guarding Ryan Howard. She did a much better job than Lexi Hull and Christy Wallace did. Her passing, I know she turned it over a couple of times, but again, a few of those turnovers were like missteps out of bounds. The travel that was a push where she got pushed. As far as live ball turnovers are concerned, I think she had, from what I remember, she had 1 live ball bad live ball turnover. And obviously, if you're looking at the sport of basketball, like live ball turnovers and dead ball turnovers, they're not the same. They show up as the same thing on a stat sheet. They're not the same. And the fact is, as a positive on the defensive end, she actually made up and played better defense as makeups for some turnovers at different stages in the game, which I really do like. So, as far as like fitting in, this was the best Caitlin Clark had done that. And this was a good enough win for the Fever. Like the Atlanta Dream are not a terrible team. They were terrible today, but they're not a terrible team. Like, if you want to judge how well she did the little things, how well she used her gravity, how well she helped the team win, I actually think you can argue, and this was one of her better games, that she did a lot of the little things that she hasn't been doing in some games. Like the stat sheet wasn't there, but at the same time, no one's watching Caitlin Clark to play again like she's Julie Vanloo. No one's watching Caitlin Clark. No one wants to watch Caitlin Clark be a role player. And I think Christy Sides is caught in a really tough position because it is like we either play through Caitlin Clark or we potentially ruin all the hype the WNBA has been getting over the last year. I don't envy that position that she's in, because it's whether do we want our team to win more games right now, or do we want to give our team the better chance to win down the line, or do we want our fans to keep showing up? Because if Caitlin Clark has had 3 games out of 4 where she scored 10 points at most. She got benched in one of them at 3 and 7. If Caitlin Clark has a 5-game spell where her job is to pass the ball to Aaliyah Boston and stand there and watch, every bit of hype the WNBA gets is going to be gone. And again, that's not on Christy Sides. I won't blame Caitlin Clark for that one. I won't blame Christy Sides for that one. But her job is to win games, and it actually looks like, and it's not even that Caitlin Clark is better than Aaliyah Boston. It's literally that the players surrounding these two players are all players that were brought in to kind of fit Aaliyah Boston, not fit Caitlin Clark. Like, you need to build a whole new team. So I don't know what's going to happen. I actually think it wasn't that bad a game, but the box score watchers will tell you it was one of our worst games.